Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, then my name is John. I love talking about books on this channel, apart from some other everyday stuff. But talking about books is my prime aim in regard to this channel. So, I have been here for more than 1 year now, and my reading speed or the quantity of books is very less. I don't read too many books in 1 year. I always try to read the best books, the most valuable books in terms of historical value, uh, in terms of the meaning it provides to our existence, in terms of its future value, and these are the elements that I look in a book before I grab and start reading the book. So that's my my strategy whenever I grab a new book. uh, so in this video we will talk about a book that I have started reading recently. This is the second time I'm reading this book. The name of the book is, let me show you its hardcover or the box in which I received this book. So this is Charles Darwin. He was a naturalist, a biologist. I don't know, but people say he is a naturalist, and he has changed the course of history, and he has provided a new value to our meaning. Previously, humanity had a different notion about the existence or the origin of uh, animals or plants or creation. So earlier there was a different theory. We call it theory of creation. But Charles Darwin presented a new worldview on the basis of his theory, on the basis of his research. So that's why I like this person a lot, and that's the reason I'm reading this giant book. As you can see, there are more than 1400 pages, and this book is like 4 in 1 or 5 in 1, I'm not sure. So I'm reading The Origin of Species first of all, because previously I tried reading the journey he made on the Bagel, that ship, but I didn't find it, very enthralling, interesting, because as I'm not a, geography or geology student, so I thought that was not for me. So I decided to reread The Origin of Species. Origin of Species is a beautiful book. Previously, I read the young adult version, which was amazing. I got it from the library, and that was fantastic. Concepts were extremely simplified in that particular book. In this book, there are no illustrations so far, I haven't seen. But in the other young adult, young reader version of The Origin of Species, there were endless number of images that helped me to understand the concept, and the language was itself very easy in comparison to this book. But this book contains, the original content of The Origin of Species. So that's why I'm reading this book. And there are, a number of themes when you grab this book and try to understand it is, as per my understanding, as I have already read this book, I believe that before I pick this book up and start reading it, I have to understand, like, what's the basic premise of this book. So the main, main summary of this book is that Charles Darwin is trying to prove that the origin of species is through, that through natural selection, and it is through the through variation. So that these concepts are not very complex. So natural selection guides our course. Natural selection, it has one subset. We say that sexual selection, but we will not talk about that in this video. We will restrict ourselves to natural selection. What is natural selection? So there are, some fundamental points that we need to understand in order to understand the natural selection. So any species you can take, like any number, any plant species or animal species, for example grass. So there are, different types of grass. And if you see a ground, or any place, even a jungle, you will see there are other plants apart from grass that is trying to grow in the middle of grass. And you will see there is a constant fight of space, constant fight of territory, constant fight of existence. Some plants wants to outgrow the grass, or other plants. So so it is like, everybody is trying its best to outgrow others. So you will see that, and Charles Darwin says that organisms, for example population, I don't know why they say that population is a problem. But if you see the other species, you will notice that population is not an issue. It is the natural tendency of organism to produce itself in more numbers than it could survive. Same happens with the sperms. When man releases its sperms into the ovary, or the female reproductive system, so it sends, more sperms than are required. Only one or two sperms will survive, mostly one, unless it is, twins or triplets. So but it is in the, it is the law of, some kind of law that is in existence, that dictates that uh, there will be more organisms that could survive in the atmosphere. Some has to die, but that is the part of the natural system. So I'm not sure what I'm talking about. I think you should grab this book up and try to understand its mechanisms, its beauty. It is just amazing. And by reading this book, you will understand more than, just the natural, or the nature part of the book. You can implement the same topics in n number of ways. For example, there is this psychological interpretation, psychological theory of, our evolution. We call it evolutionary psychology. So it is also based on the fundamental points given by Charles Darwin. So this book can help us in n number of ways, and that is the beautiful part of this book. And that's why I try to reread the same book again and again, because I know the value of these books, how helpful these books are, and how it can help us to understand this world in a better way. It provides solutions that cannot be found anywhere else. So this is one of the reasons that I respect Charles Darwin, and he is an inspirational figure for me, apart from Fyodor Dostoevsky, who is my, uh, like, I am just a disciple of Dostoevsky, I would say that. So in the same way, I really admire Charles Darwin, because he has changed the course of history. He has influenced, motivated so many, philosophers in different, who has different, interest in different types of philosophy. He has influenced biologists, historical, researchers. So his influence is, extremely widespread. So now you can understand that why I am talking about this guy, because he is just amazing. And it is our duty to read The Origin of Species. I will read more books because it is 4 in 1. After finishing The Origin of Species, I will try to read some other books. which are there. So I will update you about that later on. But so far, I believe I'm on the chapter 1, which is variation in domestication. That is the title of chapter 1. So there you will see that he has discussed the the animals that we have domesticated, how they have changed over the course of history, and whether they were, emerged from a single ancestor, or there were multiple ancestors. So that is a debate which is going on in this book, which is very interesting. And Charles Darwin is destroying all those, earlier arguments with his latest convictions. So it is fantastic. I believe, guys, that is sufficient. I'm not sure what I have discussed. I just came here to, update you guys about my reading schedule. So this is what's going on these days, and I will come back and we will talk about it more, because that's what I love.